Thanks for joining us on Support Local Film with Filmhound. My name is Julia.
It's Hunter. Oh, that kills me. But what makes me feel alive inside, rejuvenates me, and keeps me young is this announcement that we're about to make to you. That was the goofiest thing we've ever done. I swear to God.
I was surprised.
Goofy is good, but you know what? It's not as goofy as a very, very special playlist that Filmhound is going to be making.
You're right, Julia. We are making something very fun for everyone. People are always complaining to us that, we talk about all these movies, but they don't know where to find them. Well, guess what? Now you do, because we are making the Support Local Film Vault, a special playlist of just the best of all Colorado filmmakers, people that we love, we've talked to. They will be in the vault, and we're going to have a new announcement every single month for who's going to be in that vault. Are you excited, Julia?
I'm so excited. And if you guys are just excited as we are, you can check out the link in the description on both Spotify. We'll make sure to share it on our Facebook page, our Instagram story, and all over the place, because that is where we are.
We'll mail it to your grandmother even.
Yeah.
Because she watches the show, even if you don't.
And we'll make it easy for people who are unfamiliar with technology.
Today we have someone very special on the show. His name is Mason Aksamit, and he's going to talk to us all about college and how to make it less expensive. He's making a documentary. Mm-hmm. We're calling it the Anti-College Doc. Would that be the right word for it?
I guess that's one way to phrase it. I mean, I haven't come up with a title yet, but once it's made, I'll have a title.
Let's just say we're not against higher education. We love higher education, but you don't like how it's expensive. You don't like how it's costing people's entire lives trying to pay it off just so they can have 4 years of drinking beer, just like I did. Yeah. So, so what can we do to make college less expensive, Mason?
So what I did personally is, so when I got my bachelor's degree, I tested out by using tests called CLEP and DSST exams. So CLEP, college level examination programming, and then DSST, I don't know what it stands for, but CLEP is for your freshman, your sophomore year level courses, so 100, 200 level courses, and then DSST is for the upper level courses. And they're multiple choice tests. If you get a 70% on them, you pass, and it's a pass-fail. So a 70% is equal to a 95%, doesn't really change anything. But I used those to test out of 78 credit hours out of 120. Wow. And I got my bachelor's in a year and 4 months for about $10,000.
Wow. And what was the process of this? So did you have to cram for a week and then on a Saturday morning show up to some place and just test it?
Yeah. So most community colleges will have like a testing location. So the test itself now it's 90. I was paying 80 at the time because this was 2017. But it's like $90 for the test, and then it's $30 to $40 for a sitting fee just to take the test and have somebody like watch you. So I would do that. I would study from Monday through Thursday, just the one subject on online. There's multiple websites online. There's a site called Modern States where it's just college professors who literally teach the entire course for free, and you just watch video lessons and take quizzes. I would watch the entire course Monday through Thursday, and then Friday take the test. I would always buy myself a little piece of cake just with it, and I'd be like, okay, sweet, I'm gonna splurge. And I would take the test and then pass it. If I didn't pass the first time, which I passed 80% of the test the first time, the second time I always passed. So a normal college course costs like $3,000 for in-state tuition, whereas these tests are $100. So if I fail 28 times and pass the 29th, I'm still saving money.
Okay, I have two questions. So first one, how many people were there? Like, how many people know about this? Because I've never heard of this before.
Nobody knows about this. There's me and one other person online at all who even talk about these tests.
Wow.
They were originally made for military members. So like you can be taking these tests while you're in the military. And then when you get out of the military, because they're free if you're in the military, any branch, you can take the test for free. But you spend 4 years abroad taking these tests, and then you come back, you do 1 year of college, then you can go back into the workforce, because 65% of the jobs in the United States require either an associate's or a bachelor's degree. So
yeah,
you kind of need it.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I'm a social media manager, and I've learned all of this straight by experience and just getting out and doing it. And I can find some jobs where they don't really care, but a lot of them are like, you have to have a bachelor's degree, you have to have a degree. And it's like, but I can do the same amount of things. So,
Yep.
but so obviously, since not a lot of people know about it, is that your motivation behind making a documentary?
Exactly. So me and his name's Mark Wess. He's in California, but we've been working on this since 2017. Not the documentary, but just trying to get the word out about CLEP exams. He has a website that he's trying to make just to have free study guides for people looking to just test out of them, and he's helping me produce this project now, because the kind of idea behind it is whatever we can raise for the Indiegogo, we can just use that to send to film festivals. There's about 4,000 film festivals in the United States that accept documentaries, which is like $100,000. So if I could raise $100,000, which even if I get $50,000, it's half of that. It doesn't matter. It still spreads the word. So whatever I get can spread the word. But if I could spread it to every single film festival, 500 people per festival are viewing it. That's 4,000 festivals. What would that math be? Like 2 million people right off the bat seeing it.
Wow.
And that's not even including how the people they're going to talk to about it, or if it's going to go on a streaming source, or wherever it ends up being, that can really get the word out about it. Because no college is going to tell you about this. I had to, when I was talking to my college counselor, when I was doing this, she would never like bring it up. She would never talk about it. She wouldn't really help me with any of it. It was all on me to do my own research and figure it out, because to them it's, hey, we can make $3,000 or we can make $0. So why even bother talking about it?
So the big thing, because I'm in college now, I'm trying to get my bachelor's. So if I went to my counselor, they wouldn't tell me about this.
If you ask, they'll know, but they won't tell you.
So they won't tell you about any of the resources. But say if I got all my CLEP scores, I got the 78 credits I needed, I passed English 203, Myth and Literature, blah, 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 and then came back, did all my core classes, I'd still graduate from, say, the institution that I was graduating from, right?
Well, so depends on the institution. So like CU Boulder only will accept 12 credit transfer hours, whereas where I went to college was SNHU. I did it online, Southern New Hampshire University. They accept 90 credit transfer hours. There's also 3 colleges. One of them's Thomas Edison University, and then there's another one I forget the name of, but they accept 120 credit hours of transfer. So in other words, your bachelor's is 120 credit hours. So if you could theoretically test out of the entirety of your degree if you really planned it out to that detail.
And how far of like a range can you test for? Does it cover like every degree or every kind of, you know what I'm talking about?
It does. So like if you want to get like an IT degree versus like a history degree. So I would say that probably the more basic degrees are going to be easier to test out of, like psychology, history, sociology, like the anything that you would probably study in high school, that would be a very easy thing to test out of, whereas IT is going to be a little bit more complex, because there's just more history CLEP exams and DSST exams than there is IT exams. Regardless, though, those are both just very, like, it doesn't really matter because you can just test out of your degree regardless. So if you're looking for an IT degree, one of the guys I coached, he's looking for an IT degree. He tested out of, I think it was like 68 credit hours. So it's still 2 years of college for it. I mean, in theory, if you were to test out of all 120 credit hours, you would pay $5,000 for all the tests.
Wow.
It's amazing you say this, even though there's so much going on, so much trouble trying to get into the workforce. There's a way to make it cheaper for the average citizen if they have the motivation to go and take these tests. And you just mentioned that you coach people through it. What's the process like that? And will that be part of the documentary about trying to teach people how to be coached through this?
So the documentary will be going over all of the details as to what the tests are, different study sources, how to study for them, do it on their own if you want to just do it on your own. I also just offer personal coaching. I've coached 15 people on how to do it, and I've saved about $1.2 million for the 15 people in that process.
Wow.
Say that again.
So I've coached 15 people since 2017 in total, and the estimated amount that I've saved them instead of going to do college classes was about $1.2 million.
Oh, wow.
And how many of them have degrees today?
All of them.
Bachelor's degrees?
All 15, yes.
I'm not sure how to feel about that
So
right now.
so you understand how this kind of feels, Mason. When we say that, it kind of feels like the movie Limitless, or like Casino or an Ocean's 11 movie where you're telling me how to steal something. And maybe it's just because I'm expecting to pay too much money to do this.
Well, that's the expectation. That's what society's built up in your head, because from the time you're born, it's like, hey, start raising money for your kids' college funds because you're going to be screwed if you don't. And I mean, that's the case for many, many people. One of my coworkers, we both teach. So I was a teacher at a middle school. She was an art teacher. I was a performing arts teacher. And she is $100,000 in student debt. She's my age. If she was to pay off that, it would take her about 30, 40 years. If she's consistently paying it. That's not including credit card debt that she acquires throughout that. That's not including if she has a kid and has to start taking care of that and paying $10,000 every year just to take care of a child on top of this. So, I mean, many people will pay off their student debts and then their kids are going to college right then. So then their kids are going to start getting screwed. Whereas, like for me, for example, I saved so much money that I moved to Europe for 6 months with the money that I had left over and just had fun and then came back.
I went to college for at least almost 2 years and ran into some debt and a whole financial issue with FAFSA and everything. And I'm curious because you have to have a certain, just to understand, you have to have a certain amount of credits in order to take the test, right? Or you can just go right
You
in.
can start taking CLEPs when you're a freshman in high school.
Oh, wow.
Well,
So
theoretically, if you were a sixth grader, you could. But
I didn't have to stress out is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
So even instead of taking AP classes, say somebody studied for a week,
Right.
they read Hamlet on Monday, they studied these classes, took the resource you just mentioned, and Friday morning they took the test.
Mm-hmm.
It's the summer of their junior year, and by the time they're a senior in high school, they could potentially have credits in college even before their AP scores.
In theory, if you really planned it out and you started taking classes freshman year of high school, or CLEPs, freshman year of high school, you could graduate high school and then apply to a college, transfer all of your credits over, and graduate college the same year. So you could theoretically graduate from high school in May and graduate from college in June.
Oh, gosh. Oh,
So-
my gosh. This is so amazing that we're getting this right now.
So as much as we want to just bask in this,
I can talk for hours about this.
I bet we could, and I'm sure we could film many podcasts about how exactly the step-by-steps here.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, we can't do that. We will provide all of the resources for everyone so that they can get started. They can get to Mason's Indiegogo, so they can get started getting this doc ready. When the doc comes out, they can then watch it and then figure it all out for themselves.
Yes.
However, until then, we have game time.
Game time.
Yes, Mason, it is game time.
Excited.
So today's game time is called Frat Boy because, like you and I, we probably spent most of our college time when we weren't taking CLEPs drinking beer.
Yeah, smoking a lot of weed.
Yeah. I had like a whole bunch of fat tires stacked up in a certain place. I won't admit where. Anyway, Frat Boy. These are college movie based trivia that we are going to answer today. So if you watch any college movies when you're in high school to get you excited, I'm pretty sure the U.S. Department of Education subsidizes those, like war movies are subsidized by the Department of Defense. But in the meantime, Frat Boy, question 1. In the movie Legally Blonde with Reese Witherspoon, the sorority that our legal blondie comes from or belongs to is named what? Is it A, Delta Kappa, B, Beta Nu, C, Alpha Gamma, or D, Delta Nu?
I'm going to guess Alpha Gamma. C.
You are incorrect.
Okay. I've never seen Legally Blonde.
So it's actually
That's a bad start.
It's a bad start, and I'll tell you why, Mason. So
Oh, no.
unfortunately, if you do not get a pass or fail, passing grade is a 2 out of 3 in this class. We kick you out, and we're going to tell people how to take college credits. And obviously, if you listen to any of our little problems, it's not going so well with us. So we
I'm
need you
not
to
a college
succeed.
master.
Can I have a cheat sheet?
No.
No, but
You have to study for this test with your childhood.
I have to study for the test that had no study guide?
yes.
Okay.
And you have one call a friend, and that's me.
Oh, gosh.
Don't worry.
Okay.
You're a film bro, which means this next question is going to be easy for you. In the movie The Social Network,
Okay, there we go. That's better.
Oh, I know this movie. You have a chance.
Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher make the creation of Facebook into a very intense lawsuit friendship drama. But out of all the dramatic characters from the movie, 2, or should I say 1, stand above the rest. Who portrays both of the Winklevoss twins in the movie, or the Winklevi? Is it A, Jesse Eisenberg, B, Armie Hammer, C, Andrew Garfield, or D, Laura Dern?
Do you want me to build up the suspense? Like, just like drag this out until...
Yeah, we'll actually just like,
No,
we'll,
no,
like
no,
Ken
no.
Burns into your face.
B, Armie Hammer.
That is correct.
Cool.
It is correct. He was actually, there was 2 actors who portrayed the Winklevi twins. However, they took out the other guy's face and just put Armie Hammer's face back onto that dude.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. It was the opposite way of like if like you just have him come from both scenes. I mean, it's David Fincher, so how many cut takes could you?
He
feasibly
averages
do?
like what, 50 per shot?
So imagine that if you had to
What?
cover
Yeah.
it from
Are you serious?
Yeah,
And
he
you
like
complain about my third take.
no. If you look at him like on scenes of people like throwing books just on the table, he will literally shoot them 40 times.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's draining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg once took 100 takes to cross the street.
To cross the street.
And
He's
the,
a perfectionist.
the movie is perfect. When I say the movie is perfect, the movie is perfect.
All of his movies. You ever
Anyway.
see Seven? Like,
Yeah,
the movie's perfect.
movie's perfect. Anyway, question 3. The movie Van Wilder stars Ryan Reynolds and Tara Reid as crazy college kids and they do all sorts of shenanigans. But I'm not going to care about Ryan Reynolds' 8-year college career. I'm going to talk about his sidekick, who this role not only launched this person's career, but also launched the sequel to Van Wilder. So, who is that actor? Is it A, Cal Penn, B, John Cho, C, Denzel Washington, or D, Laura Dern?
So this is my last question,
Yeah.
and if I get this wrong, I have to leave,
Yeah.
Yes.
and I can phone a friend.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Hey, friend.
Hi. You're gonna have to go through that whole question again.
So I know it's not C.
Okay, you know it's not C. Do you think it's D?
It's not D.
I don't think it's D either.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I
I've never
looked
seen
up
this
Lauren Dern. I know who she is now.
It's not Lauren Dern. it's
Laura.
Laura.
You know
Dern.
what? I have speaking problems.
You can say the name
Okay.
of the queen correctly. Thank you. She's the best part of Big Little Lies on HBO.
Oh gosh. Okay. What was A and B?
It was Cal Penn and John Cho.
And the question is pertaining to.
Okay, I'm going to rephrase the question just for
Please.
Julia, just for your
Please.
phone a friend. In the movie Harold or Kumar, who plays Harold?
Harold and Kumar.
You're a stoner. You should know.
I'm an ex-stoner.
That
by the
doesn't
way.
mean you forget the movies you watched.
Harold.
Well,
Kumar.
well.
Well.
One of those actors interned at the White House during the Obama administration. Well, not interned. They headed up they were the deputy head of the office of public facing stuff. So it's not Denzel Washington, it's not Laura Dern,
No.
but it is either Harold or Kumar. Which one is it? Harold or Kumar who worked at the White House?
Wait, during whose campaign?
Not campaign.
Or
Presidency.
rolling or whatever.
Ed-
Governing.
So in all honesty, I don't know which one's Harold and which one's Kumar.
That's
so
called
which
racism.
one was in How I Met Your Mother?
Which one was in How I Met Your Mother? Cal Penn.
Cal Penn.
Yeah,
Cal Penn. Oh,
And that's Harold or Kumar?
that is Kumar.
Kumar. And remind me of the names again. Just say them.
Cal Penn and John Cho.
Cal Penn and John I think it's Cal Penn.
I'm gonna go Cal Penn.
I think
You are correct.
Oh,
Cal
cool.
Penn.
Thank God.
Oh, yes.
So
Good
not
job.
only
That was a struggle.
so not only does Cal Penn play Taj in the movie Van Wilder.
I've never seen Van Wilder.
That
I
sucks
haven't
for you. He plays in the sequel National Lampoon Van Wilder's The Rise of Taj. He plays Taj.
Okay.
Who he when after Van Wilder graduates, he has to be the cool guy on campus or something, some stupid National Lampoon
actually,
thing.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, of course, because if you're watching at 2 a.m. Comedy Central, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mason. You have passed another exam with flying colors.
Thank you.
And when
Thank
we
you.
get back, we will be talking more about how you can get through college without wasting all your gosh darn money. But first, commercial break.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Mike Rose from Grand Design, and I had a couple questions for you. Do you love R&B music? Do you love soul music? Or maybe you like hip-hop music? Do you ever wonder where it all comes from? Don't worry about it. Grand Design has got your back. We got this new documentary called BBBB, which stands for Breaking Barriers, Building Bridges. It's about the history of black music in America and the entire world, and how it all relates to black civil rights. You don't want to miss this. It is coming out next week, July 6th, on Grand Design's YouTube. We're releasing the first 4 episodes, and it's gonna be dope.
Hey Colorado, it's your friend Hunter Burns from Support Local Film. It's your local film podcast in Colorado, presented by Filmhound. And tonight I am wearing my Final Girl t-shirt. It's the comfiest shirt I own. And why am I wearing it? Well, because tonight I am going to the premiere of Final Girl in Greeley. Isn't that crazy? There's a film premiere in Greeley and it's happening tonight. And you were so jealous when you heard about that, even though it might have been a couple weeks ago when it happened. But that's how everyone feels when they don't get to hear about all the amazing events that are happening in Colorado. When events happen, people want to be a part of it. FOMO is for real. That's why if you were doing something amazing like a film festival or a 48-hour competition or a movie premiere, we want to hear about it. We're here for you. All of Colorado film comes together right here at Support Local Film. So if you are interested in putting an ad for any event that's going to be happening in Colorado, reach out to us at filmhoundcolorado@gmail.com. We are so excited to put Colorado on the map, and remember, baby, when you're here, you gotta stay creative. Back to the show.
I compare it to Monty Python meets Hamlet.
Oh, I love that.
So the first half of it is a comedy, and the second half's a tragedy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of tragedy, this podcast.
Are we live?
Yeah, welcome back.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, well, we started with a fanny pack. Now we're moving on to Hunter announcing an amazing script, right? Yeah.
Something like that.
Something
Anyway,
like that.
you're absolutely right, Juliet. There is so many amazing things that our guest today does. Not only is he trying to save you money, go to his Indiegogo. We'll have the link in the description. You'll be helping create this documentary that doesn't need a whole lot of funding. He's really in the process of making it, but his film festival run is really meant to help people try to avoid paying college debt off by taking these CLEP exams. But he's not only someone who is just trying to be the world's best guidance counselor for your for your college experience. You're also a screenwriter, and you have an award-winning screenplay. It's been in Brazil, it's been in Bulgaria, it's been in Ukraine. It's won awards there and in Italy too. It's called The Fool. So tell us a little bit about The Fool.
Yeah, so it is a comedic tragedy. The first half of the film is a comedy, and the second half is a tragedy. Split it at the midpoint. It's actually, I based it largely off of an experience of my own where I felt like I killed off a portion of my personality that I really didn't like. Just very angry, very judgmental. And that personality I took and made the main character and then killed him off in the film.
Oh, that's cool.
That's how you do it.
It's better. That's the best therapy, let me tell you.
Write yourself out.
Yeah.
I like it. So what is the experience of most people would say that they've submitted to a film festival before, but how do you do that with screenplays? How does that work?
So there's screenwriting competitions. For most film festivals, they have screenwriting competitions. They are typically a little bit more expensive than if you were to submit a film. So typically like a film's like $30 to $50, whereas a screenplay is going to be more like $40 to $60 or $70. But you can submit it just like you submit films. I was submitting The Fool and then a film I made a while back called The Shivering Tale to everything, and they're typically doing the exact same thing. So if I get finalist for The Fool, The Shivering Tale also gets finalist. So they kind of just go together for some reason, but they're nothing alike.
So when you submit it, you're hoping people will be interested and then fund you? And
I think that's part of it. I think the other thing is just having a bunch of laurels on your poster when you're pitching it is like, oh, this actually has merit. Like, people care about this. It's not just because every writer ever is like, I'm the best writer in the world. And then you read their script and you're like, no, you're not. And they say 99% of scripts are thrown out before the first page is finished in Hollywood. So every one of those people is just as confident that their script's the next big thing when it's not.
And why do you think it is? Do you think it's because most
bad
people,
writing?
Well, I think bad writing, but also do you think people actually proofread? Because I read scripts all the time, and I'm like, why can't you learn where colons are supposed to go?
That's the thing. I think the big thing too is like, I think the majority of scripts I've ever read are about the main character bitching about how their life is so terrible and how awful it is, and just everything's going poorly, and then out of nowhere it's just so much better and everything's just on the up and up.
I also went to film school.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the 17-year-old white boy script for sure.
Yes. And they're almost, it's like 80% of scripts are like that. And you're like, oh, another one. Great. How you've been through so much. You grew up in America. How hard your life has been.
Man, the suburbs, so tough. Your dad really tough on you. Really wanted you to stop
vaping.
Stop vaping. And actually go to history class.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There's those. Then you got like the big extreme car chase ones, and it's like, oh, where's your money for this? He's like, well, I thought you had it. Like,
so what do you think it takes though? Like, what do you think can be done in order for people to have the right motivation on writing scripts and like
right motivation?
Right. Like if they're over here just sitting here like, I'm going to write something cool. Where do you think the shift is in your mind where it's like, okay, well, let's write something relatable and good? Like, how do you think that can
How personal are you willing to be?
Right.
I've written some bad scripts, like some very, very bad scripts.
It's gonna happen.
Like you have, and especially when you first start, but once you write the good one, you're like, I get it now. I get what I did that worked this time that didn't work the other times.
Right.
And there was a few things. One, when I first started, I was like, oh, structure's unnecessary. You don't need it. And it's so like, there's so many people who think that though. And that's not I'm not abnormal in that. Most screenwriters are like, oh, well, Tarantino doesn't use structure. No, he does.
He just pretends he doesn't.
He pretends he doesn't because he's Tarantino and he like does weird things with it. He has his own artistic flair in that structure. But there's a lot of elements to it. There's a screenwriting guy I found on YouTube. His name's Tyler Mowry. He worked as a, like he would read screenplays. Like he would read like 6 a day in Hollywood. And he goes through and he has a YouTube playlist for free. Anybody can watch it. How do you write a good script? And I just followed it piece by piece. And that's what is getting this all these awards, honestly. Is just, he breaks it down. There's simplistic elements that create good characters that you care about them. And when you're more vulnerable about who you are and your own flaws, because you know your own flaws better than anybody else does. Mm-hmm. So if you're willing to go, these are my flaws, this is who I've been, put it out there to the world, be vulnerable in that way, then you're going to write stuff that's a little bit better.
Right. Yeah, as an influencer, I definitely see that. Like, people want to be able to relate with you and not like see something on the screen that they can connect themselves to, and that just draws more of an audience. It makes them feel almost connected to your project.
Because you're real. Yeah, you're a real person. You're not just some plastic figure smiling at the camera about how great your life is. Like, look how perfect my boyfriend or girlfriend is, and look how fit I am, or look how much money I have. Look at this beautiful car I have. It's like, oh, whose car is that? Oh, it's not yours? Got it. Like, it's the vulnerability is the part that people like. It's why I think people like Joe Rogan as much as they do. It's because he's himself. He, flawed or not, he's him.
Well, you're right. And there's certain curation that other shows have. Mm-hmm. Like, this show's a little bit curated. We edit.
Yeah.
But, we really do try to present like the most authentic, normal person selves, because that's what Colorado is all about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not gonna try to hide anything for you. I live in an apartment. I'm in the suburbs somewhere. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna tell you where. But
My address is 439.
and if you come in through the door, I have a surprise. But I honestly think that one of the most wonderful thing about your screenplays, because I read them in film school, and they were a cut about of everybody else's, Mason, because you weren't afraid to tell us what you honestly thought. And you got some pushback from it.
A lot.
Well, that's going to happen. I mean, not everyone is going
to
agree.
We were in film school.
Yeah.
Well,
there
everybody
in
in film
opinions.
school. Well, just people in film school in general, just because they're artists, and I think this is an artist trait, is like, you're basically one step away from being homeless or one step away from being DiCaprio at all times. And everybody thinks they're more on the side of DiCaprio than they are on the side of homeless, when the reality is the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, not just that. I also think that people seem to believe that, I think honestly film school created this whole movement where you have to be the most correct person in every single little aspect. And I'm like, this is impossible to keep up with. And I'm someone who really strives to support, like I work for a Black company. I support my LGBT friends as best way I can. Am I a perfect human being? No. But if you're willing to show your flaws, you will be punished for it, especially in a film school.
Yeah. Well, and I think just in general with film school is a lot of people are in their heads all the time because they're constantly thinking of these big ideas and different stuff like that. So instead of being honest about how they feel about a person and trying to make amends with them or trying to be a good friend, it's like, oh, not part of my crew, bye, hate you, leave. And it becomes very cliquey, very, very quickly.
Oh, I noticed that at CFS very quickly. And if you weren't on the right side of things, you'll be out too.
Oh yeah. Well, and whose definition of the right side is it? Is it because like everybody's right is different? Like as a comedian, my right is different than the person whose focus is like gay films or Black films. Like you know what I mean? It's not to say that we're disjointed from each other because we can totally work together, but there's this like, this is my crew,
right. Right. Well, and that easily translates in the market now. Like you can see it. Like from me, I'm coming at an actor point of view, just trying to work in projects wherever I can go. And now we're doing this. And as we talk with people and as we like try to reach into other groups, some of them are a little more hesitant, and they're not sure who we are and they're not sure our intention. And I don't know if that's bruise from previous crew groups or just like, this is my thing and it's going to be my thing, and having that mindset of I'm going to make it how I want it rather than I'm going to put myself out there.
It's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
It's a collaborative effort, but I think a lot of people think it's an ego effort.
So I agree wholeheartedly. If we are all going to come together, we need to stop putting all of our differences first. We need to put our similarities first, and what we all want to be single-minded about is making Colorado a great film hub, so we can all live in our favorite place and make creative things and do everything we need to do. But until then, Julia, I think you have one last little thing for Mason. Oh dear.
Sure do.
I'm scared.
Is it? Could it be?
Sure do. It is another game time. And
Oh,
this
dear.
one is going to be fun because you, my friend, you have been a college student, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I have a couple questions before I get started on the game. Did you live in dorms?
When I was getting my master's, yes.
You lived in dorms.
Yes.
Okay. And how many roommates did you have?
So I had my own room that was like closed off, but it was like in a house of 6 people.
Okay. Oh, 6 people.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be fun. All right. Tell me the most embarrassing nights you've ever had with your dorm friends.
Never hung out with my dorm friends. I hung out with another dorm, but I had plenty of embarrassing nights.
Okay, I've done that too, so I know exactly. Just any dorm friends.
Okay, so my other friends. This is one of the first times I ever got drunk in my whole life. My buddy pulls out basically extra large shot glasses, which were like double shots, and he goes, "We're gonna do Jaeger." And I was like, "Okay." Pours 2 shots of Jaeger. We do them. He goes, "Go again." He does them again. I ended up taking about 15 shots in 7.5 minutes, very, very quickly. And then one of my buddies goes, "You ever play rugby before?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Well, let's go. So we go, and it's like pitch black out. And so we start playing, and we played with an American football because that was all I had. And he throws it at me, and I have my hands up, but I was so drunk, it just smacked me right in the face. And I'm like not able to walk at all. And one of my buddies, he's actually in the hospital at the time. Totally, that comes back around. But my friends were like, oh, Mason's so drunk, we need to bring him back home. So I started heading back home, and at one point I just like laid down in the middle of the road, like just face first. And my friends picked me up and they walked me back to their dorm, which was like 2 miles the other way. And they laid me in the guy's bed who was in the hospital. And the second I laid down, I was blackout for most of this, so I don't remember any of it. But I was like, hey, Chris. And he's like, what do you need, mate? And I was like, I can't do it. And I just threw up on my friend's floor. I threw up like 6 times, and they all stayed there all night. Like it was like 2 a.m, and they stayed until 7 a.m, up all night, just like making sure I didn't die.
Oh my goodness.
Cool guys.
What a fun scene to reenact.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, you're an actor, right?
Oh, we're gonna reenact
We're
this
gonna
right now.
reenact.
So I'm gonna
Right.
be drunk.
Okay.
So you're gonna play drunk.
Okay.
Hunter, you're gonna be the friends.
Oh boy.
Who's getting? Okay.
Do I get to play all the friends? Like, do I get to-
yes, you can play all the friends.
Okay.
And then
Can you do a Liverpool accent, a Scouse accent?
Scout's accent.
I've heard the Wombats before.
Have you heard the Beatles?
Do I-
they talk up here and they talk in the nasally region of their voice.
Oh yes, Hunter. Let's see that.
I'm gonna pretend that I can do that. Okay. All right, ready?
Okay. So how we're gonna do this? All right, we're gonna shorten that whole story in 30 seconds.
Oh God.
Okay. So I'm gonna put a timer up. Let's see. This will be your football. Here you go.
Okay.
We have to get from the very start, which is you getting drunk in a dorm, and then the very end, which is rugby guy carrying you to throw up all over the place. Okay.
Okay. Ready?
All right. I'm starting it now. Shots, go.
I hate Jaeger.
We got to
Again. Enough of that. It's time for football. Oh no, he's too
I
drunk.
can't believe you've done this.
I
no.
Quick, let's take him to the injury ward.
All right, we must
Oh, you're carrying my
him.
foot.
Yes, we must carry him.
Carry
All
him.
right. Oh, this looks like a good spot.
Oh,
My.
Hello, I'm your friend Ringo Starr.
guys, I'm not okay.
Oh, let's scoot you up here.
Oh, God.
Yes. All right. He looks fine, right?
Chris,
Does he?
I think
Chris.
he
Yes.
looks fine.
Yes, my love.
I need you to know you're a really good friend.
I think you're great, and that's why you're gonna be
That's time.
So that's why you're not gonna be the 5th member in the Beatles. But we will still invite you on this podcast some other time, especially if you get this documentary off the ground. And when we
Yes.
get all into all of the amazing film festivals you do, we want to hear about it. So don't be afraid to check in with us.
Will do.
Thank you. Mason,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
We're happy to have you. If you guys want to check him out and support him, he's got that Indiegogo page. That all of his stuff will be in the description. Check it out, please. Like, seriously, save thousands of dollars on school. Like,
Or if you're ever going to have children someday, save them thousands of dollars
Yes.
and you thousands of dollars
honestly,
from your job doing
oh my
work.
goodness.
Whoever you want to save thousands of dollars, it doesn't matter.
It
It
There's
can be
so
a
many
gift for
people.
anyone.
It's just a huge face slap to anyone who's already spent a ton of money on school, like me. Anyways, so also follow us, Film Hound. We are the producer of this show. We do a bunch of other
Wait till the end, mother. Anyway, back to the point.
Okay, make sure to follow us, Film Hound. We're the producer of this show, also producer of a couple of other stuff coming out, so keep an eye on that. We have an Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the place. Find us. And make sure to subscribe, too.
You're right. And no matter where you are, even if it's going to be next week at what theater?
The Savoy Theater.
Okay. Even if it's next week at the Savoy Theater
Oh, yeah.
for Mason's play Till Death Do Us Part at the Denver Fringe Festival, which will be playing June 23rd through the 26th. Get your
awesome.
tickets below. That's down there too.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't matter if you're at the Savoy or not. Whatever you're doing, stop, watch some local films, and don't forget, stay creative, Colorado.